Kevin Lowe's number 4 goes up into the rafters on a special night here at Rogers Place as the Edmonton Oilers look for their 4th consecutive victory. They're 8-1-0 for the second time in franchise history. They host the New York Rangers, who are 6-2-2 on the season and coming off an overtime loss earlier this week. Welcome to the Oilers TV live pregame show as we tee up tonight's action.
All right, Mikko, another start. Just a thought on this run for you and maybe where you're at right now. If you can maybe think back to getting all those starts last year at the start where there was no preseason and you were quarantined, and contrast that with maybe the way you're playing right now and getting the starts at this time with the training camp and an exhibition season.
Obviously, it's a different story, different year, and I don't want to look back anymore. It's like, it's doesn't help me at all, and just want to enjoy the day and enjoy every day what I'm here, and enjoy the game, and that's my plan.
All right, you don't want to look back, but I'm going to ask you to look back to when you're in St. Petersburg, because the guy you're playing against is a guy you played goal with, Shesterkin, who's a very talented goaltender. He's got great numbers like you right now. What can you tell us about him, the goalie?
He's a very good goalie. Like I think we played like 4 years together in St. Petersburg, and first time when I saw him, like I saw right away that this guy's going to be really, really good, and he has a unbelievable like work ethic. He works really hard on and off the ice, and usually when you put like you're that talented and you have that kind of work ethic, it's going to pay off sooner or later, and I'm happy to see him doing really well, and he has a really, really bright future.
One of your biggest supporters is in the building tonight, Jari Kurri, as part of the event today with Kevin Lowe. Just a thought on Jari and Finnish hockey in his place, and how special of a guy he is relative for all. I mean, I don't know if the younger Finns like Jessa would maybe know, but I think maybe you might have a greater appreciation for him.
Yeah, of course, Jari is he's a legend back home, and he had an unbelievable career. And when I was younger, I was always looking like Jari, and I followed Edmonton because of him, and such a big name and great human being. And I didn't know that he's here. Hopefully I'm going to see him after the game.
Hey, Mikko, just over here. What is the team doing in front of you that's helping you have success this season?
No, I think everyone is in same page and try to get better like every day, and feel that we're leaving everything out there in every game, and everyone is supporting each other's. So that's a big part of the game,
And then you mentioned just the struggle last year of not having family around. How much more comfortable do you feel just having your support structure around you this season?
No, I think it's everything. You don't realize that when they're like gone, you just try to battle through, but when they're actually here, and it means everything for me.
How badly do you want to make the Olympic team?
I'm not gonna lie, it means a lot to me, and try to do everything to make it to the team. But I'm not thinking that like every day, but it's somewhere back there. Reminds me like every day put the work in and try my best. But we have a lot of options, so we'll see what happens.
A couple of those options, though, Rask isn't playing and Pekka is retired, so I think you have a very good chance.
Like I said, we'll see. I try to focus on myself and focus on my game and enjoy. That's the biggest part.
Do you think Saros is the leading candidate?
I'm not the coach or not GM, so you have to ask for them.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hey, Mikko, just curious, leading up to a game against the Rangers, you haven't faced this team in, 2 years or so. You haven't faced some of the shooters. Do you spend additional time watching video or anything leading up to these games to kind of remind you yourself of maybe tendencies of some of their shooters, that sort of thing?
Not really. Of course, I check the lineup and do a little bit of research of the players, but we just usually check the PP and stuff like that. But still know the top players, and so it's nothing special on that side.
What does getting an opportunity to play regularly do for you? Getting starts, continuous starts.
I haven't thought about that. I just go one day at a time, and like I said, try to enjoy every day. Can't look too much forward, can't look too much back. It's just try to live in the one day and do my best every day and have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mikko, just over here to your right and the back here. You mentioned earlier this in training camp that some of the things that you worked on was getting quicker on your feet. How much do you feel like your work that you put in the offseason has helped fuel your start so far?
I think that's been key part. What I did during this summer, I felt like it's carry on now, and I haven't stopped working on that part of my game. Try to do that every time when I'm out there, and try to get better skater and get my feet moving better and faster, and I think that's been a big part of my game.
And after a game, when you're assessing it, either watching video, I'm not sure how much video you watch after a game, but is it the night of the game where you're able to kind of talk to your goaltending coach, or do you maybe kind of have those conversations with Dustin Schwartz the morning after?
Yeah, usually we do like the morning after the game, let the feelings calm down, and we can check the video if there was something critical or good, then make some adjustments, but usually like day after the game. Thank you.
What do you want to know today? Let's go.
Hey, Dave. I'll go first, I guess. Just a thought on the Rangers. Obviously, a team you guys haven't seen in a couple of years or so. What have you seen from them early in the season?
We've done some homework on them. I mean, high-skilled team. They got some top players that if you play a wide-open game, they can hurt you. But they played a lot of games on the road. They're playing solid. The goaltenders played solid, so we'll have to. We got to make sure we've talked a lot about we want to end this homestand off right before we head out on the road. So. I'd like to see our team come out and play a real solid game.
Do you sense from your group, is there any additional excitement, I suppose, playing, a team like the Rangers who you haven't faced in a couple of years, just facing a different opponent that you haven't seen for a while?
I think all the time, last game was Nashville and then Seattle before that. I think the players are enjoying getting back to normal, put it that way. And it's, you go in, you do your homework on the other team. There's players that you don't know as well, so you dig into it more. And so it's that part of it is refreshing for everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, Dave. I know you said the team hasn't been talking too much about the 8-1 start, but what is maybe one big trait of the team that you've noticed over these 8 games that you'd like to carry going forward?
I think the biggest thing is that we're in games and there's, sometimes the game's going well for you, sometimes the game's not going well. We've stayed pretty even keel, and I know the players talk about let's find a way to win this game, and there's different scenarios that arise during the game. It could be a game where your goaltender is really good, or your special teams are strong, or you just got to hang in there. And the Vegas game, we're playing it back-to-back, and you just got to hang in there and try to find a way to win. So that's been kind of the main theme from our group is doesn't matter what happens, we got to find a way to win, and we've been able to do that a few times.
And I know you've been asked about Kevin a little bit, legacy, him as a person and as a player, but I'm just wondering, you've rubbed shoulders against him for so long. Do you have any good anecdotes from either playing against him or anything from maybe before you guys both were with the Oilers organization?
The one thing that stands out about Kevin is like he was one of those, I call him a glue player on a team, but he's one of those guys that everybody else is getting a lot of accolades, but when you played against their team, you talked about Wayne and Mess and everybody, but Kevin was a guy who was really hard to play against. Like he was a real competitive guy. So those teams, when you just think about the skill end of it, there was a lot of grit on that team and they had a lot of real hard mindset to win, and Kevin was at the forefront of that. So he was a hard player to play against. If you're a forward around the front of the net, you were battling. So he always had that reputation of being one of those guys that great teams like they had to have great top players, but they had their supporting cast was really, really good, led by players like Kevin.
So when you saw Kevin play like that as a coach, do you realize you have a greater appreciation than for players who play like Kevin but don't get the accolades?
I've always had a greater appreciation for those players.
You were a fairly good star at North Dakota.
I was in that bottom rung too. So you you're not scoring a lot, but you got to do something to help contribute to win. And I think you look at all great teams, they have a lot of those players. You look at the old Islander dynasty. You look at Edmonton here. There was a lot of those players in there that sometimes I think Slats would shuffle some of those guys in and out, but they always had those bottom guys that had an impact on their team, and that's what it's about, building championship teams. So you got to have players like that.
And it's the same goaltender, obviously. Mikko's playing.
Yeah, Mikko's going to play tonight, yeah.
You mentioned Skinner last game. Are you just going to keep him around here until for sure that Mike, he might say, I'm ready to play, but you actually want to see him in some practices? And
yeah, he's got to, I mean, we need him, especially going on the road here. We need to keep him with us until Mike's ready. Once Mike's, we know he's going to play and ready to jump back in full time, we've got to keep Skinner around.
And is there hesitancy, because last year Mikko played so many games and then kind of ran out of gas because Mike was hurt, with his schedule, to look at the schedule coming up and says, okay, we're playing Skinner in one of these games? Yeah,
we'll monitor how Mike goes day to day here, because it really does go just day to day. So we'll see how that goes, but we're cognizant of what you're talking about. And the other thing, Skinner played really well in camp. He had, we don't want him sitting around a long time here. So whether he gets a game here or Mike comes back and he gets down and gets playing, we'll see how it goes. But he's, he's in practice and everything. You see, his game is at a new level this year. So I wouldn't hesitate to throw him in if we decide that.
Go, Tony. No, mine's off top.
Okay.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gene. Dave, you mentioned you're going to have a players' meeting about what you're going to do for the ceremonies today. Are they going to be able to watch it from the bench, or? Yeah,
they'll watch from the bench before. I like the way it's set up, where they can watch and then have warm up after that. So it's a little out of the norm, but I think it's great for them to pay the respects with Kevin, and so they'll see that and then still get a warm up, and hopefully it's as normal as it can be.
And can we expect the same lineup as Wednesday?
A couple tweaks here and there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dave, you mentioned, just back here, you mentioned Kevin Lowe being a glue guy. Have you kind of determined a Kevin Lowe or two on this team as some guys that are really important that are underappreciated, perhaps?
Yeah, I think we're still learning about some of the new guys. Like you look at, Hyman, Fogle are both real good guys in that. You look at CC as like that, just guys that are kind of unheralded but do a lot of work for you. So we're still finding out about our group, but I like the mix we have.
You mentioned how Kevin Lowe used to play in front of the net. Can defensemen still play that way, and do they have to kind of adjust their games? Can there still be a Kevin Lowe type player as a defenseman in the NHL today?
Well, the rules have changed a lot since Kevin was in front of the net, and he used to go there and the defenseman just grab your stick in his hand and he would just hold it for a while, and he'd cross-check you till you were dead, and there's still be no penalty. So the rules have changed a little bit in that direction.
Dave, sorry, not about Kevin or hockey, but next week while you're gone, Canada's here playing a couple of matches. I know you were a great soccer player, so if it's okay to ask you a soccer question, have you been able to just sort of see anything about Alphonso Davies, this local kid, and what he's done in Germany, and just kind of what he's done for soccer in general? Just some replays you see on television. He's an amazing player. It's great to see for soccer in Canada. So it's I don't follow it probably as close as I should, but when you have elite players like that, they're fun to watch. All right, thanks, guys.